Hello and welcome to the Typical Boro podcast. It's the last podcast of 2025, and as always, I'm your host, Steve Dixon. I'm delighted to say that I'm joined by Mr. John Cutler. Are you all right, John?
On it.
Good to see you, And we'll have a guest on this week. We'll have the Red Radio's Caroline Walker is back on the pod. You all right, Caroline?
Yeah, good, thanks. Thanks for asking me to come back on.
Great to have you back on. Great guest. Before I get stuck into things, just want to give a plug to the season card winner. We had a prize draw, as you know, to win 2 half-season cards for Middlesbrough Football Club. And the winner is Connor Walker, who on X is at that droid 1. He's won 2 season cards now, which is absolutely brilliant. So we'll be in touch with him and sort something out to see Connor on Boxing Day, hopefully at the Riverside Stadium. So well done to him. While we've got Caroline on, though, as the last time, I like to discuss a little bit about the Boro women, because she's an expert, she's a commentator on the Boro women. She knows all things about the ladies. Doing quite well this season after promotion, sitting mid-table in the league, which is a decent start. It's a tough league. Looks like it's going to be tough as to get promotion. Burnley and Wolves are basically battling it out at the top of the league. Seem to be at a different level to the rest of the division. But Middlesbrough ladies more than holding their own under Joe Lilly. But what's exciting about the season so far for the ladies, Caroline, is the cup run. Yeah. I know I listened to your commentary on the cup game. So in the second round, I've just done a little bit of homework, Caroline. And in the second round, they managed to beat Northampton 3-0. And then they went and beat EFC Flyde 3-0 in the third round. And they now had the fourth round drawn. They've been drawn away to Oxford. Is that a good draw, Caroline?
I think it's not a bad draw at all. I mean, they are flying in the cup. But when you think that it's the first year at this level, they got off to a pretty rough start, but then they had some really tough games, because you mentioned there Burnley and Wolves. And they're professional. And our girls, obviously our team, like most in this league, aren't. So once they got over that hurdle, started to find their feet, they've done really, really well. Better than probably they could have thought. And even with as we know with the Boro men, a change of coach, midway through the season, it's not affected them at all. And the cup run's a real bonus for them. The crowds have been half decent. It's a shame they couldn't have had a home draw and had somebody at Stockton. But to get that far in the cup, it's fabulous for them, and it just gives them that little bit of boost, even if it is extra games.
I was looking at Oxford. They play in the National League South. So would you say they're a similar level to the Middlesbrough ladies? So they've got a decent chance of getting through that tie?
I think they've got a really good chance of getting through the tie, yes. In a one-off game, maybe apart from, as we said, Burnley and Wolves, they can beat anybody on their day. Boro women have got some good players. They've got Amani Maxwell on the wing, and there's just some really good players in that team. So hopefully they can move on in the cup and at least consolidate in the league until maybe next season, and they've started to find their feet a bit more. And, a promotion push in the next couple of seasons, I really don't think is out of the question at all. And that would just be brilliant and show real progress since they came under the whole Middlesbrough Football Club banner.
Yeah. I heard some fans were wanting a Super League team in the cup this round, either Arsenal or Man City, to generate the money and the interest and go away to a big stadium and stuff like that. Do you think that's probably better coming in the next round if they get through?
I think so. Yeah, just it's the same in any cup competition, isn't it? You think, do we want the glamour tie, or do we want the tie where potentially we can progress? So let's try and progress, and then maybe look at a glamour tie, because I would imagine that if they played the likes of Arsenal, Man City, whoever, the tie, if it was a home tie, would switch to the Riverside, and that would be an absolutely massive occasion.
Yeah, that'd be brilliant, wouldn't it? I was just looking at the money for the ties as well, just to give people who are listening, if they're not sure about women's football financial wise, just for the fourth round tie against Oxford, whoever wins that tie gets 54,000.
I know,
to win
it's
the
a
to win the tie.
significant amount of money at this level in the women's game. I mean, obviously, it's not comparable yet to the men's, although it is getting, it's getting a little bit closer. But yeah, that's a significant amount of money
Definitely.
to bring into the club.
Yeah. The loser gets 13k and the winner gets 54,000. So the tie is going to be played on the weekend, the 17th and 18th of January across that
January,
weekend. So
yeah.
so that's something to look out for Boro fans. So we've now got to go from the good news to the bad news. Unfortunately, Middlesbrough Football Club the men's anyway, couldn't round off the year with a win. They fell 2-0 at Ashton Gate. Middlesbrough Slayer, Emil Rees-Jacobsen again on 17 minutes and Robert Atkinson on 62 minutes was enough to see off the Boro. 2,000 hardy souls made the long trip down to Ashton Gate. Credit every single one of you for going brilliant just before Christmas. Cuts, I'll bring you in on your thoughts. There was one change. Alan Brown came out the side for Alex Gilbert. On paper, it looked a strong Middlesbrough 11 to me. It looked an attacking Middlesbrough 11 to me. But unfortunately, for the first time under Kim Hellberg, Middlesbrough drew a blank.
Yeah, I'm not too down about it, to be honest. It's obviously always disappointing to lose a game, but I think if you look at the game as a whole yesterday, and we'll go through it a little bit, I don't think there was too much wrong yesterday, to be honest. Both goals obviously preventable. We'll go through that. So I'll be very disappointed with the first one. The second one wasn't great from a marking point of view, but I think there's plenty of positives. I think the biggest downside of yesterday was what happened after about 15 minutes when sadly Riley was forced off with an injury. So hopefully that's not too bad and he's back very quickly.
Yeah, I think that was a big moment, Cuts, that you brought up there. Riley McGree, I thought, was having a really good game. 15 minutes in, pulled up which what looked like to me a tight hamstring, so precautionary. I think he come off with a tight hamstring. Probably still going to be out for a couple of weeks, unfortunately, with that. McGree goes off on 16 minutes and Emil Rees-Jacobsen, Caroline, puts Bristol City in front on 17 minutes. Key moment in the game?
Oh, I think so, absolutely. I mean, Riley's been flying. And I think we were just a little bit, we were still reacting to Riley going off, Nipan coming on, and they hit us because I've been looking at some stats, from that game, and it's unbelievable, to be honest. Just got a few of them. I mean, we had 28 shots on goal. We had, according to these stats from Sky, we had 72% of possession. And I think, as you said, there wasn't a lot wrong apart from that age-old thing of not putting and I'm sure we'll talk about this when we talk about the transfer window, not putting the ball in the back of the net. I think if we'd have done that, even at 1-0 down, I think if we'd have done that, we'd have gone on to win that game, no problem at all. But I think, for all that we had so many chances, just not scoring them, that took the game away from us. It was always going to happen sooner rather than later. He was never going to carry on being unbeaten. It's just how they now react on Boxing Day and how he replaces Riley McGree because his energy and his creativity. We've missed that all the time. He's been injured and we'll miss it again. Nipan's probably not the answer, and I know we'll talk about him in a bit more depth. So disappointing, but it's gone, it's done. Let's get over it and let's just react with a good win on Boxing Day.
Yeah, I think you're right, Caroline. The finishing was what we let were down. You're right, 28 shots on goal. More, the standout fact for me was only 3 on target, which tells you everything about Middlesbrough's finishing at the moment. But I thought we did play well first half. I thought Middlesbrough were the better side first half, and were circumstance went against with that Riley McGree injury. The goal by Jacobsen, they catch Middlesbrough on the break from one box to the other. Talk about solid brain. He cuts inside, has a shot, it gets blocked by Alex Gilbert. It comes back to him again, hits it again. It goes through Gilbert's legs. Solid brain slightly unsighted. It was quite close in, to be fair. Hit hard. As a goalkeeper, it's a difficult position when it's just under your arms. It's actually easier to save if it's further away from you. It was an awkward position down low. I think on reflection, Sol Bryn, if he had maybe just used his feet, stuck his legs out rather than using his hands, or just got a block on it, you'd have probably saved it. You went for the perfect save because, to be honest with you, I think Sol Bryn's a really, really good goalkeeper. And one of his main strengths is, which he showed yesterday as well, loads of times, is he comes and he catches the ball, shots at him, he catches the ball. He's not like a foreign type goalkeeper that likes to knock things away and punch things. He's an old school type goalkeeper, which is very rare these days. If it's there to be caught, he tries to catch it. And that's, in my opinion, if you're looking back on that occasion, probably guilty of trying to make the perfect save and kill the ball dead by catching it. You'd have probably been better just getting a foot on it, getting a block on it, and if it ricochets off him and they get the rebound, so be it. But that's I've seen a little bit of criticism online regarding the goal, regarding Sol Bryn, because he's made a couple of mistakes this season against Portsmouth and in West Brom as well. But he's a young goalkeeper, and you're going to make mistakes. He's never played at this level before, and I think it's good that he's getting this experience. He's only going to get better. What you don't want to do is, when a young goalkeeper makes a couple of mistakes, is take him out the team. You let him learn from them. You let him learn from their mistakes. That's how you get the goalkeepers of the past. Your Peter Shiltons, your Ray Clemences, all the greats. When they got put in the team at young ages, they all made mistakes as well.
Every goalkeeper still makes mistakes. I mean, you only have to look at Tottenham, for example. But even the best in the world, like Alisson they all make mistakes now and again. The trouble is, when you're a goalkeeper, it can cost dearly.
Yeah, exactly. But the one thing you don't do is take him out. He'll learn from it. He'll come back like he has done from the other mistakes. He's come back and he's made big saves. And yesterday, to be fair, he more than made up for the mistake, because second half, I know they scored from the corner, but he made a fantastic save, turning the shot round the post just before they scored from that corner. So, let's not be too hard on Sol Bryn. He's Middlesbrough's number one, and I think he's going to be Middlesbrough's number one for a long time. Hopefully, he's a really good goalkeeper. So we went in at half time, 1-0 down. Come out for the second half. Now, Cuts, I'll come to you. Under Hellberg, the only sort of criticism you can sort of label at him is second half, we seem to step off it a little bit. We seem to go hell for leather first half, but with second half performances haven't been as good as the first in general.
I think that's generally been the case, but I thought we started the first 15 minutes of the second half yesterday really well. I thought we were well on top again. I thought big shout out to Morgan Whitaker yesterday. I thought he was fantastic. By quite a long way, he was our most threatening attacker. I thought he had a really good game. But yeah, I thought we started the first 15 minutes all right. Once they made the change to 3 centre-halves, it obviously changed the shape of the game a little bit. They were quite happy to sit back. Plenty of men behind the ball, and unfortunately, as it proved, we couldn't break them down. But I thought we started the second half all right, to be fair.
Their manager, Gerhard Struber, Caroline, actually mentioned after the game that they had changed tactics and formation about 3 or 4 times during the game, especially in the second half. They tried to nullify Middlesbrough. That was the fear of how many attacks Middlesbrough were getting on them, the overloads in wide areas. Do you think we're going to see teams now doing this every week against Middlesbrough, changing their tactics just because it's Middlesbrough coming to town and we're quite difficult to work out?
Oh, I think absolutely, yes. And I think that's why there's a difference between first halves and second halves. And if we'd have taken our chances in the first half, as we have done in the last 4 games, we would potentially have had the game won. Yeah. And no matter how they changed their tactics in the second half, we could have then sat back a little bit, or if our attacks were nullified a bit because of the way that they then set themselves up, it wouldn't have made that much difference. And I think that's why second halves have been a little bit, I won't say we've been found out, because I think we are so pressing and we're so fast on the attack sometimes. And, if we have the end product, then it's going to be a great game and a great result. We're not always going to have the end product, unless, of course, we maybe invest in someone who's got the end product. But I'm not too concerned. Yes, I think teams are going to worry a lot more about us than we are about them.
I think if you look at it, although it worked in terms of them getting the result, but if you thought by doing whatever you say, 3 or 4 changes of formation, 22 shots, did you say, Caroline? That certainly
28.
hasn't worked.
28, yes.
28, that certainly hasn't worked in that part of the game. Unfortunately, we didn't put the chances away yesterday that we created, especially in the first half, because it could have been a completely different game. But it's the Championship. You're not going to, like Caroline said, you're not going to win every game. Every game's tough in the Championship, I say every single week. But I don't think them changing the formation and numerous times worked yesterday, as is proof in 28 shots. It's just we didn't take our chances. It's okay. We move on to the next game.
I think some of the disappointment came because when you've seen the games before Middlesbrough kicked off with Preston and Millwall and Coventry dropping points, it was a real opportunity Middlesbrough to go 8 points clear of third, close the gap on Coventry. And I think some of the disappointment has come from that side of it rather than actually being disappointed that Middlesbrough lost the Championship game. Just a stat, and I pinched this off Chris Saunders, who's been a guest on. Yeah, Emile Rees' record against Middlesbrough now: 8 goals and 1 assist in 9 appearances, 7 wins from 9 games. The only game his side lost was the one he didn't start in. When he starts against the Boro, played 8, won 7, drew 1, lost none. He's Middlesbrough's kryptonite.
Absolutely.
Unbelievable, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's just some stats that come out is unreal. How does he keep doing it?
A player that I think, if rumours were to be believed, didn't Chris Wilder try and sign him? £4 million
right,
or something?
Yeah, we were linked with him. Middlesbrough's substitutes yesterday, and it was obviously McGree came off for Nipan on 16 minutes. Tommy Conway for Calais Sen on 73. Matt Targett come off for Bangura 73. Alex Gilbert made way for Bergzog on 84. But the interesting one for me was Nipan coming off for Alan Brown on 74. Now, I'm just going to give my opinion on that. In my honest opinion, that was poor management. And I'll give me a reason why. Nipan, was he having a great game? No. He gave the ball away quite a few times. He had an opportunity to slip players in. His passing wasn't great. Wasn't having the best afternoon. Totally get it. Middlesbrough were 2-0 down on 74 minutes. The game was probably gone. A young player at that age, what that would do to his confidence as a player, I think is really damaging. To bring him on and then sub him, regardless of the reasoning, is going to damage a player. It's embarrassing for a professional footballer, unless he's injured, to sub your sub. Now, to me, that says that I don't think Nipan will be at the club in January. I think he'll be moved back to make room in the squad and loaned out again by Man City. It says to me, for whatever reason, Kim Hellberg doesn't think he's at the required level. I think he's a good player. I think he's got real talent. I think it's a shame to think the way things have worked out for him, because I thought he'd be a superstar in this league regardless of his age. But on that occasion, I'm just going to be honest, I thought it wasn't great management. Caroline, I'll bring you in.
Yeah, no, I agree that it probably wasn't the best thing to do management-wise, but it also tells me that perhaps Kim thought that even though there was only 15, 20 minutes to go, we still had a chance of winning that game. We only needed to get, one of those shots on target, and we were well back in it. I had great high hopes as well. I thought he'd be this season's Ben Doak. And it just, for whatever reason, sometimes it doesn't work. And yeah, I think cut our losses, say to Man City, thanks, but it's not working. We need the room in the squad. Maybe he should. The trouble is, if he goes out to a lower level, it's probably going to be tougher and more physical. And he's not that type of player, which is going to make it a little bit difficult for him. I did feel as though he would fit into the Kim Hellberg, formation and style of play, but for whatever reason, it's just not working. So I think sadly we cut our losses. Wish him all the very best for the future and move on.
Cuts, it's a bit of a shame the way it's worked out. He's a full international now at his young age. A full international. His goal scoring record, his assists, abroad for Rosenborg, superb. £12 million Man City have invested in him. Why is it not working out at Middlesbrough for him, Cuts?
I think there's a couple of interesting points here. You say that it's not good management. Might not be good management for Nipan, but we're not here for Nipan. We're here for the best interest in Middlesbrough Football Club. So if Kim thinks the best thing to do was to sub the sub, I'm not here to polish players' egos. I agree. He's 19-year-old, 18-year-old, whatever he is. He's a young lad. It would have been really tough on him yesterday. But at the end of the day, we want what's best for Middlesbrough Football Club. And if that meant subbing Nipan yesterday, I agree with the manager. What did he do when he was on? Nothing. He hasn't done much recently. Personally, I wouldn't ship him off back to Manchester City in January. I think he's a player that the longer he stays could get some minutes. We know he's got ability. He's proved that in patches. Is he starting for the team? No, probably hasn't gone as well as we all hoped and thought it would. But the manager's not here to polish players' egos. We talk every week about players get too much comforts these days and mollycoddled and all of that. If they need subbing, they need subbing. It doesn't matter if they were the sub or not, for me personally. So yeah. I've got no problems with Kim, what he did yesterday. It is harsh on him because he's a young lad. But if it had been any other... Imagine if it had been Bergdorf, we wouldn't have been sat here saying, oh, it's harsh subbing the sub. So it is what it is.
But part of my reasoning is his actual age and his career development. Part of my reasoning is we've lost Riley McGree now, what's probably going to be for a few weeks. We've got 4 games in 10 days coming up, so we're going to need Nipan during those games. And I just think that dent his confidence for the sake of leaving them on for 15 minutes. And let's be honest, Alan Brown didn't exactly set the world alight when he come on anyway. I just think it was a risk too many. He didn't need to do it. But look, that's what football's all about, opinions. Let's hope Nipan, next chance he gets, puts in a good performance and shows all what he can do, because there's no doubt he's a talent.
Wouldn't surprise me one bit if he starts against Blackburn. It's either that or Brown's coming in and Hackney's moving further forward, isn't it? It's going to be one of the two, you'd imagine.
Yeah. So the other point I want to bring up again is the typical Boro topic of the last couple of weeks. I'm not going to get into it because I've made my thoughts pretty obvious, and so is Cuts on the other side of the fence. So we're not going to bore you by going through all that again. But we do have a guest on in Caroline, who's a very optimistic Middlesbrough fan as well. What's your thoughts on the Tommy Conway situation, Caroline? He's got 1 goal in his last 18 games, which was a penalty. He's scored 7 in his last 44 championship games. He's a favourite of everybody's because he's a likeable lad. He's keen. He works so hard for the team. He's an important cog in the wheel. However, he's Middlesbrough's number 9. And if Middlesbrough are going to try and get promotion in the automatic 2 places, he's going to have to start scoring soon, Caroline, isn't he?
He is, yes. But I think you're right when you say, though, he's an important part of the cog in the wheel. He's just not the spearhead of that wheel. But I think with a spearhead who knows where the back of the net is, firstly, it's possible Conway will start scoring again, because Strelec, he's obviously got potential, but he's not there yet. He's certainly not, banging the goals in as we hoped he would be, for all he's only just back in the team. I would have somebody with Tommy Conway, whether you're playing him just behind, whether you even drop him back a little bit, further back into midfield where he can hassle, harry and create. I am a big Tommy Conway fan. I just couldn't believe it when we got that penalty. And I was just, I turned to Mark next to me and I said, if he misses this penalty, I'm going to sit down and cry because like everybody else, just wanted him so much to score. And I thought it might push him on. He had a couple of chances. He didn't put them away. But I'm still on Tommy Conway is on my team sheet, but not necessarily as my number 9 or the person I'm relying on for goals.
Yeah, it's a difficult one because I agree. He offers something to the team and his work rate. I thought yesterday, the partnership didn't work as well because I thought they were too far apart. I thought they've been hunting in packs lately as a 2 and playing quite well together, Strelec and Conway. But yesterday, for whatever reason, whether it was tactical, Conway seemed to be really wide. He's wide left, he was wide right, running the channels, working hard. And they were miles apart, Strelec and Conway yesterday. I'd like to see them getting back to playing closer together because it worked great in the last home game. But it didn't work yesterday, and I think that was part of the reason they were too far apart. I think regardless of what's going to happen, we're going to get into it a bit later on with the transfer window. I think Conway and Strelec need somebody else in the window to give them proper competition, because we aren't going to finish in the top 2 unless we have a striker that's going to hit probably double figures in the second half of the season. So the games... Go on, Caroline.
I wonder if some of that happened with them playing further apart after Riley McGree went off, because that was very early on, because maybe Conway felt as though he'd got to do some of that work that Riley McGree has been doing over the last few games.
Possibly, yeah. Good point, yeah. So the next 4 games coming up, Cuts. We've got 4 games in 10 days. It's always a really important part of the calendar, the football fixtures. It sometimes sorts out the wheat from the chaff. We've got Blackburn at home on the 26th on Boxing Day in front of a sellout Riverside Stadium. We've then got Hull on the 29th at home at the Riverside, followed by Derby away on the 1st of January, and then Southampton back at the Riverside on the 4th of January. So the first thing that stands out to me is 3 home games out of 4. You'd take that, wouldn't you, all day long, Caroline?
Absolutely would. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think they're all going to be tough games. As you said, there's no easy games at all in the Championship. But the Hull game obviously stands out, given what happened at Hull, but given that we also, know what a good team Hull can be. But yeah, absolutely. Give me 3 home games over the Christmas period and I'd snap your hand off.
Yeah, cuts. We've got Blackburn, who are sitting 20th in the league. Hull City, who are 4th at the moment, but they play Sheffield Wednesday away next, which is probably going to be 3 points for Hull. So that could be a real ding-dong game at the top of the table when Middlesbrough play Hull. Derby, who are sitting 12th, and Southampton, who are sitting 11th. Do you think they're good fixtures for Middlesbrough coming up, Cuts?
I never say if they're good or bad, but obviously it's a bonus being at home because get the fans behind us. Especially, I think the next 2 games are really important. I say it all the time. I'm rinse and repeat. Every game in the Championship's tough, but 3 games out of 4 at home. I think if we take 9 points out of 12, I think I'd settle for that because it's over the 2 points a game barrier, and I think it would definitely increase the gap to 3rd. So, yep, if we can get 3 wins out of 4, I think we'd probably all take that sat right here. But you mentioned about hoodoo teams and players, Reece and Bristol City yesterday. Our record against Blackburn's absolutely abysmal, so we might as well all stop it up, mightn't we?
It's true, it's a fact. But you know what it is? These records are there to be broken, so
yeah.
Let's hope Hellberg can change it around. The due one off, aren't they? The due one. So January transfer window, obviously opening shortly. The next podcast, by the way, that we're doing is going to be on Monday, the 5th of January, after the Southampton game. So we're doing it on the Monday, and I've got Dom Shaw's the guest coming on, who's the transfer man in the know. So that should be a good one for your Boro fans. Listen to Dom Shaw on the 5th of January. So where do we need to strengthen, guys? Ins and outs. So I'll come to you first, Cuts. Where do you think Middlesbrough need to strengthen in terms of players in? And in terms of players leaving the football club, I'm just going to give you a few options here because I had a look at Middlesbrough's squad and I thought, where can Middlesbrough rejig the squad? Because we need to make room in the squad because we've got too many players. So players have got to move out to let players come in. And I'm just going to throw a few names of possibilities. Senny Dieng, George Edmondson, Darragh Lenihan, Mika Hamilton, Sverre Nipan, Delano Bergzog, and Sonny Finch. So in terms of ins and outs, Cuts, what's your thoughts?
I don't think we'd be devastated if any of them left, to be honest. I'm a massive fan of Lenihan. I've said it every time I'm on the podcast. But unfortunately, injuries with Darragh recently. But he's a great centre-half. He's a great leader. And I think he would have been starting, personally. I think I've said it when he's fully fit. I think he's our best centre-half. But sadly, the last year and a half, 2 years, he had some really serious injuries. So you couldn't really argue with that. It depends if he's fit enough for us. I think we could lose him from the squad and hopefully he can come back next year. But, yep, Dieng, I think he's been in training for a while, but it's been nowhere near the first team. We've brought in a 37-year-old goalkeeper who's ahead of him, so that looks like that's probably going to happen. Nipan, I've already discussed, is a player that I would keep personally, but I think Manchester City won't be happy with his minutes, so that's something that'll take place. Bergzog, I don't think I'd be devastated to see him go, although I support him while he's here playing for the team. But yeah, as for players incoming, I said months ago, I still think we need another centre-forward to challenge Strelec and Tommy. Someone of at least equal ability, a player that I've championed for lots, Adam Armstrong, but he's scoring goals for Southampton now, so I don't think that would happen. Maybe Cameron Archer from Southampton. You can say that they wouldn't sell to us, but we sold as to them, so maybe that's something that could be worked out. But yeah, I think a goal-scoring centre-forward, I seen something yesterday. If you look under Robson, we got Branca, Rickard, and was it Adam Armstrong?
Yes,
Alan
Armstrong, yeah.
In one window, I remember Uwe Fuchs coming in under Brian Robson. They had massive impacts, and I think we're going to be there or thereabouts come January. I think Steve will say, okay, even if it's a loan with an obligation to buy if we're promoted, I'd be amazed if we don't bring in a centre forward, to be honest.
Yeah, I'll throw another name in there. Norwich's Josh Sargent, teammate of Aidan Morris.
I like him, but do I see us going out and spending £20 million on a centre forward? I don't personally. I don't think they'll do that. We've got ourselves in a really good position financially over the last couple of years. I wouldn't be against it. He's a top player. I just don't really see us going out and spending 20 million on a centre forward.
Caroline, your thoughts on players maybe coming in or going out of the football club?
Yeah, I mean, undoubtedly we need a goal scorer. We need a centre forward. And Steve Gibson, as you've said, he's got form. You know, if we're in that position where promotion is looking very, very possible, he might just, well, he will definitely spend, I believe. And he'll bring in what he thinks we need. Kim Hellberg's already said he sat down in the week and he was very excited by the transfer talks that he had with Kieran Scott and the others, which is good. He's also said that he doesn't see Micah Hamilton leaving, even on a loan, which I think is very interesting because he's not giving him the minutes at the moment. Now, whether he sees something there that over the next few weeks and into the new year, he feels he'll be able to put him into the first team, maybe, because there is a player there. I think we've just got to find it. But then we said that about Morgan Whittaker, and we've now got the player that we bought rather than the player that we saw in his first while at the club. You know, we've now got the real Morgan Whittaker. So maybe it's just taking a little bit of time with Micah Hamilton. Other than that, to be honest, I wouldn't be disappointed to see any of those go. Bergzorg, he doesn't make enough. He's only going to be a bench player, and he doesn't make enough impact for me when he comes on at all. So yeah, I don't think we need to strengthen defence now that we've bought Melandra in.
Yeah,
absolutely. So George Edmondson to me is not good enough. Darragh Lenihan, I totally agree, fantastic player, but we can't be sentimental about it. You know, we've got to come to an arrangement with him, and you know whether he takes on the coaching side, who knows? Although they do seem to have plenty of coaches at the moment. But yeah, I think we have to say goodbye to him. Other than that, maybe a little bit more pace. You know, maybe we bring somebody who can play on either wing, because you know he does like to get forward quickly, which is great. I think the key thing, and I've not said this for a while because I've been a bit on the fence about him, to be honest. And I know that's not a popular view. But the way he's playing at the moment, I will be disappointed if Hayden Hackney goes. And I like Hayden pushing up. I like him a little bit further forward where he can create. And I don't feel as though Hackney and Morris work well together. I think they hamper each other. I think either or. And I think that's been proven since Aidan Morris has been out injured, because I think Hayden Hackney's come into his own, played a lot better. Alex Gilbert obviously has been a revelation. So that's my views on it. And if he can do that with Alex Gilbert, maybe he can do it with Micah Hamilton as well. So I think it's a little bit tinkering with maybe one marquee goal scorer. And I think we're in for a very exciting 2026.
Cut.
Good mate Jono, who messages in a lot, he said to me yesterday, the drop-off from a fit McGree to the next available player to replace McGree is quite big, to say the least. Right. So someone maybe of a similar kind of standard and ability to Riley McGree. I thought that was a good point of Jono's yesterday. I mean, we look at players when they're fully fit, but the drop-off from Riley to the next available player, which is probably at the moment Nipan, is quite alarming, isn't it? To be fair, and something we maybe need to address in January.
I think we've got a few positions like that, Cuts, which is, you know, at the start of the season, you look at the squad and you go, oh, we've got 2 players for every position, look how strong our squad is. But the reality kicks in when you see these players actually playing, that they're maybe not quite as good. I would say another point is right back. If you were to lose Callum Britton at any point, I think we'll struggle in the right back position. Luke Ayling can shuffle across. I don't think Luke Ayling's a right back anymore. He hasn't got the pace to play there. He's a centre back now. So I'd worry about right back if we lost Callum Britton. I agree with you. I think we need competition I agree with Caroline. I think we lack a little bit of pace in wide areas. I think it's something Kim Hellberg's sides have had in the past. And I think if we're going to sign a wide player that can play right or left, it doesn't matter which side. I think we just need to add a little bit of pace into attack, like we did with Ben Doak. I think that would give us another string to a bow. So I would like to see a little bit of pace in wide area. I'd like to see a little bit of competition by Callum Britton, even if it's a lone player. And I definitely would agree that we need a striker. If we're going to spend money, like we did when we're done with Jordan Rhodes, let's bring in a top striker that gets it over the line, because goals win your games. And, you know, strikers, looking at Middlesbrough and the chances we're creating, like you say, Caroline, 28 chances. They'll be licking their lips to come to a team sitting second in the league, creating 28 chances. Kim Hellberg on the transfer situation has said we have a very good discussion around the squad, around the possibilities to bring it, who to bring in. It was a very good meeting, and they are all top at what they do. I'm very lucky to have such good quality people in those roles that work very, very hard and put a lot of energy and time into finding the right players for us, and of course also for me. I was very impressed by the meeting, and hopefully we'll see along the road which players will end up here. So that sounds very promising, like we've got a few lined up already. Cuts?
If I can just give you a name. I know a pacey winger that's not playing in the Premier League that we're used to. Adama Traore. Would anyone be averse to him coming back for 6 months on loan? Let's be honest. His moves around the Premier League. He had a little stint at Wolves where he was playing regularly and doing really well, but he's barely getting a minute at Fulham, is he? Would you be averse to him coming in for 6 months? I think that'd be a massive marquee signing, that.
Absolutely. And he seems to have just, I mean, as you say, it's not had many minutes, but when I have seen him play, he has added a little bit of end product to his game. But he doesn't always have to be putting the crosses in. Just belt forward and then, you know, tap it to one of, you know, whether it's a Riley McGree, whoever, Tommy Conway, whoever it might be. That's certainly the sort of player I would like to see us come in. He's come on a long way from the days where he used to only have to play on one touchline. So was it Warnock or Pulis?
Pulis.
Adama. He showed every game.
Allegedly.
Yeah, he would cause havoc at this level. He's too good for the Championship. Traore, he'd cause absolute havoc. He's unstoppable at this level. Premier League different, but at this level, and you know, like you say, wages are a huge problem. He'd be on huge wages, but if you say, you know, to Fulham, we'll take him, and if we get promotion, we'll offer you X amount of money next season to take him off your hands, there may be a deal to be done there. But I don't think he fits the Middlesbrough profile now, Cuts, if I'm being honest, because Kieran Scott's always looking to bring in players with sell-on value that we can make money on. So for that reason, I don't see it happening.
I agree with what you're saying there about the profile of a player, but I think with where we are now, it's probably surprised even the upper parts of the Riverside, Gibson, Scott, etc. I think we're a year probably ahead of what they think. So I just think you're looking at him and you're thinking, Adama wouldn't drop down the division. Well, he's not playing. So 6 months playing for a team where he had a happy stint, why not? Personally, I'd take it all day long. At times I criticised him. Caroline's mentioned there about his final ball. But in the Championship, we've been crying out for pace since we had Doak last year. Someone who can counter with real pace and threat. I think he'd be a massive addition, me.
Yeah.
He might not fit the profile, but he'd be a means to an end. And the end, obviously, is the goal of promotion.
Exactly.
You know, if somebody like that who, you know, okay, he might not have a sell-on value, but if he can get us or help to get us promoted, he's more than paid his way and made his worthwhile.
I'll say one thing about Traore. When he was at Middlesbrough, he was the first player that got me off my seat since Juninho. I thought he was that exciting when he got the ball. The whole stand would just rise because you knew something was going to happen because he was unstoppable because of his pace. And you knew he was going to do something. Obviously, his end product wasn't always there. But trying to see Championship defenders stop him was absolutely brilliant to watch. So we'll get into fans' questions because we've got quite a few people have messaged within Cuts. So I'll start with you with Jim Woodcock. He's come in with, yes, gents, and Caroline, obviously, not just gents. ban me from Bristol City, my local game. I live in Gloucestershire, and we always lose when I watch here. McGree was a massive loss. The game was so open. Felt we needed a Brown Morris to hold. Feel Nipan just didn't happen, but a big chance for him. Needed a trick to unlock the defence. Cannot fault the effort, but when they went 5 at the back, we couldn't find a way. Elan played well. Hackney ran into the ground. Britain is magic. Riley was the missing link when he went off.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much covered exactly what we've said, innit? Yeah. Another shout out for Callum Britton. I'm all for that. Is it too late for him to get in the World Cup squad? Come on, Callum.
Callum Britton
We can't rely
enthusiast,
on
John
Riley
Cutler.
McGree, though. We've got to have a backup plan that works.
Yeah, that's right. RM, he's coming with probably a different game if Sol saves that. His third mistake leading to a goal this season allows them to sit deeper and counter in the second half. We have had a few who've been 8 out of 10s lately, dropping to a 6 today, and nobody else took their opportunity. Bergzog's shot summed it up. Remember that shot, Caroline, by Bergzog when it didn't even go, did it go for a throw-in?
That's right.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, he's just not doing it, is he? And just to quickly go back to Sol Bryn on that point. Yeah, okay, 3 mistakes may have cost 3 goals. How many saves of saved goals this season?
Yeah.
That column is a lot higher than the 3 mistakes.
If you
I
look
think
at
it'd be crackers to get on Sol's back, wouldn't it, right now?
I
I think
so.
no one, I said earlier, no one will be more disappointed yesterday than Sol himself. But a week's a long time in football. Everyone was praising him last week for that world-class ball he did for Whittaker. And now a few people are getting on his back. Let's just, come on, goalkeepers, it must be the hardest position in football.
Absolutely.
You can be brilliant for 6 months. You make one mistake, we'll say. He'll probably class it as a mistake himself. And then people are questioning him. Absolutely not. He's been fantastic this year, Sol.
Look at my hero, Peter Shilton. One of the greatest goalkeepers of all time, statistically, games he's played, things he's won, his achievements around football. All he does is get pelters off everybody on social media because of the Diego Maradona handball. So you can't win as a goalkeeper. It's absolutely ludicrous.
No.
John Willows came in, cuts. He's back. 2 points he makes. A hard game to sum up because they played well for long stretches and ran the show. But the goals is the only stat that counts. Inevitable result, scorer, obviously Reece. In addition to the centre forward, we need to look for depth behind McGree because he's too brittle. Gutted for him, huge drop off when he's out. And he also says Nipan seems to be getting a bit of stick, getting a run of games in a more settled side in the same position with a manager who plays to his strengths. We could soon see a very different level of performance. Don't write him off too soon.
Stole his thunder there, didn't I, Jono? I mentioned his message earlier. Sorry about that, pal.
He's right though, and as I say, with Nipan, we've all said he may leave the football club, but there's a player there with talent.
I agree.
Let's hope he takes one of his chances and shows her what he can do, because it's so frustrating to see a player. You can see he's struggling for confidence on the pitch. He's not doing what we know he can do. Let's hope he gets a chance over the Christmas and creates a goal or scores a goal. And just like Whittaker, as you mentioned earlier, Caroline, he could just go on a run, couldn't he? Just start playing well.
Hopefully.
Yeah. Neil Baker, Caroline. Looked like we got bullied today. A few players off their game. Final ball was very poor. We missed McGree when he went off. Nipan is not yet up to it. A big week for Kim Hellberg before Blackburn, who we never seemed to beat. Bad day at the office, but we're still second. And he says Happy Christmas to the 3 of us. So
Happy Christmas.
Happy Christmas. But yeah, to totally agree with that, I suppose. Although I thought we were much more in the game than that yesterday. And I think, like you've said, Cuts, move on. It happened. It was always going to happen. We're going to have games like that. Unfortunately, we're not going to win every game between now and the end of the season. And there are going to be games when it just doesn't go right, when the ball goes out for a throw-in instead of a shot at goal, whatever it might be. Hit the post, hit the bar, it'll happen. It's how we react to it. And they've got between now and, when's Boxing Day? Friday. They've got between now and Friday to work on it, albeit hopefully they'll get a little bit of time off, to work on it, to get it right, and to beat that Blackburn hoodoo.
Just a point, Cuts, on the Blackburn game. We noticed on the pictures on Middlesbrough's training pictures from the club, Dale Fry back in training. Dale Fry's been superb for Middlesbrough and he's played this season. I thought the defence looked a bit shaky for the first time yesterday, looked a little bit off it, a little bit brittle at times. If he's fit, would you like to see Dale Fry come back into the team for Blackburn?
As long as he's 100% fit.
Yeah.
If he's 80, I wouldn't bring him back. Because I think we brought him back a little bit early last time, didn't we? And now it's worked out where he's had a bit of a spell on the sidelines. So if it means leaving him till maybe the Derby game, so then he doesn't have any setbacks. But obviously that's down to the medical staff. If he is 100% fit, personally, I would bring him back because I think he's been excellent this season. I think there's been a big improvement in Dale, a player that I've, in the past, criticised a little bit because I know how good he could have been, putting his body on the line. I think he's done that a lot more this year. Maybe it's been the skipper that's done it, but something's definitely clicked in Dale. I think he's been fantastic this year. So a fully fit Dale gets in that team for me.
Caroline, would you bring Dale Fry back? I think what he brings is, Caroline, we do lack a little bit of height in this side. We're quite a small team. Like I think on defending set pieces and stuff, you know.
The issue is, I would struggle with leaving out both Luke Ayling or Alfie Jones. I think Alfie Jones has been superb. And somehow when Luke's not there, we just lose a little bit of spark, whether that's because of the way he is, because of the way he winds people up, the way he puts his body on the line, which he does. We know he's not got pace. He's never been blessed with massive pace, but he's obviously not got the pace, as you said earlier, to play as a wing back or even a right back anymore. But I do think we miss him as well. So while I would love to see Dale Fry in the team, I struggle to work out which one of them I would leave out in his place, or would he go 3 at the back and play all 3 together? He's done it a little bit, but I don't think that will happen either.
You've just stolen me thunder, Caroline. I'll bring cuts in. Will we go 3 at the back shortly in a change of formation? And the reason I say that is because if you've got a fully fit Dale Fry, if you've got Alfie Jones, who's been superb this season, and then you've got Adilson Malanda coming in January, they're 3 fantastic centre backs. You know, we've got good wing backs. Is it possible we might see a shifted formation when those players are fit and ready?
I don't see us changing formation. I think in general he likes a 4. It gives us a lot of attacking options. I think it'll just mean that one of those 3 hopefully top quality centre halves are going to be on the bench, which gives us a massive upgrade from what we've done recently, where we've been struggling a little bit. I agree with Caroline about Ayling. I think he's been fantastic at centre half. I did worry about him in a 4, but I think he's been great. But we've got 2 games coming up in a short space of time, so I think Ayling might be... I don't think Ayling will start both of them games, put it that way, if Dale's fit. I don't see any way you can take Alfie Jones out because, like Caroline, I think he's been absolutely outstanding this year. And I've mentioned before that I think what we've done that's been good this year is we've brought players in from mid to lower championship teams, but they're best players. So Alfie Jones, Callum Britton. So the scouting has been fantastic of cherry picking players, the best players in the championship from the lower areas. So yeah, I don't see Alfie Jones getting dropped personally. I think he's been brilliant.
Dan's message to say, will we ever keep a clean sheet again? Well, I think Dan with Adilson Malanda and Dale Fry coming back fit, and like we just mentioned, Luke Ayling and Alfie Jones and Callum Britton, Matt Targett. I think we've got a superb defence when they're all available up for selection. So I'm sure we'll keep a clean sheet shortly, Dan, and hopefully that'll be Boxing Day against Blackburn. Paul McLean, Caroline, is messaged in saying, shots on target is all you need to see. One of those days at a bogey team's ground. However, we need to win against the other bogey team, Blackburn, on Boxing Day. A draw will let the others catch us up. So if they win, I'm hoping for a win because my son's going to the game as well. He's coming up for the game. So Paul's going to the game with his son, hoping for a win. But he's also, saying if we don't win, it's going to let the pack behind bunch up.
Oh, I agree. It'll give them... look at the hope we've had when Coventry have dropped points lately. I think it's a bit premature to say it's a must win, but we must win it. And I think 9, being optimistic, 10 points out of those 4 games would be absolutely superb. And just going back to the previous point, I don't really care if we never keep another clean sheet again, as long as we score more than the opposition.
I agree with that as well. Yeah, it would go back to when Carrick first came to the club and we're just outscoring teams. Nobody complained that we were letting in your daft goal, did they? Because we're blowing teams away 3-1, 4-1, and nobody cared less. And I'm all for that as long as we're outscoring them. It's entertaining, good to watch. But I just feel the clean sheets will come because of the defenders we've got available. We've got really good players at the back. That's actually our strength, in my opinion, and it's one thing that we should compliment and give praise to Rob Edwards, because when he came in, the players that he brought in Callum Britton, in Alfie Jones, to go with the Luke Aylins and stuff, has really strengthened at the back. Also, he gave Sol Bryn his run as his first choice goalkeeper, and that was one thing that Rob Edwards did well for. He really strengthened at the back, and the clean sheets will come, no doubt. We have missed Dale Fry massively, because let's not forget Dale Fry now is becoming a good option in attack for corners and set pieces. He start adding goals to his game, so I'm sure the clean sheets will come. Andres Braddock, the drop off from our starting 11 to the rest of the squad is huge. We started with another potential season of transition, but the great start has presented us with a great opportunity. We need some serious elite upgrades to some of our projects in January to give us a chance. So,
it's a fair enough comment.
Yeah,
we've got the likes of Kelly Sen, Sanji Hansen. They're going to get their chances, and hopefully when they get a proper chance, then they can deliver as well. You're limited to the number of players you can bring in because of the registration. So we've always got to be aware of that. And I think it will be a moving out before there's a moving in. And I don't think players like that will, they are part of the project, and I think they will stay part of the project.
Yeah. We're going to have to strengthen, but as you say, it's not going to be easy, because getting players shipped out is difficult to do, especially in January. It's always a difficult time. So I can't see there being a huge, 5 or 6 out and 4 or 5 coming in. I just don't see it. I think it'll be 1 or 2 out and 1 or 2 in at best. But I'm okay with that. I think Middlesbrough have got a really good squad. As long as the players that come in are impact players that go straight into the starting 11 to improve us. I don't want to see a squad player coming in to compete if somebody's not playing well. I want somebody that comes in that's going to go straight into the starting 11, that's going to improve our starting 11. And the player that might drop out, who's a good player, is a good option off the bench. We need to keep improving our starting 11 to get into that top 2 and stay there. The wonderfully named Belly from Boro has said, we need strength and depth. However, our decision making in the final ball was very poor today. He thought Bristol City did a good job stifling our space, and we couldn't figure it out. Even though we completely dominated the game, we couldn't make anything count. We definitely need to buy in January.
But 28 shots on target, we did figure it out. We just
right.
didn't convert those shots into goals.
Yeah, I agree. I just think it was one of those days.
28 shots. If it'd been 28 shots on target, we'd have been happy. 28 shots, so we did manage to break them down. It's just that the end product wasn't there, I think, as we've said several times this morning.
Yeah, I agree. Go on, Cuts.
I was going to say, I think if you look and you mentioned in the final ball, the finishing wasn't there yesterday, but take a couple of examples yesterday. There was one where Tommy played a perfect pass across to Whittaker, who unfortunately hit the post with it. He was unlucky with that. It was a great effort. And then the second half, we played some 1-2s on the edge of the box with Hackney, who played balls through, and it was good play. I think like we keep saying, I just think yesterday was one of them days. It's nothing particularly wrong. It just didn't happen yesterday, but we had the chances, we had the shots. Move on. I'm sure if we create that in the next 2 games, we're going to be picking up 6 points. I'll tell you that now.
I mean, there was one off the line when the keeper messed up with his back pass off the line. Yeah. The keeper's made a couple of decent saves. Like you say, we hit the post with Whittaker. Normally, you'd put that in the back of the net. As I say, I just think it was one of those days. I'd be more worried if I'd lost to Bristol City and we didn't create anything, didn't really do much in the game, went down 2-0, Bristol deserved the victory. I'd be more worried with that. But if we're going to keep doing that, like you say, Cuts, week in, week out, with that many shots and chances created, more often than not, we're going to win games. It's as simple as that.
Let's not forget as well, they're no mugs, Bristol City. They've been in and around the playoffs this year, last season, they're no mugs. They're generally they had been going through a bit of a sticky patch, but they're a half-decent team. Let's not forget that. Give them a little bit of credit. They did a job on us yesterday. Well done. Let's see where we both finish at the end of the season and see if you're still criticising Tommy. They're fans, not you. They're fans, not you, Dicko.
Thanks for that, Cuts. Nearly threw us under the bus again there, Cuts.
Yeah, not you, pal.
Listen, we're going to wrap it up there for the last podcast of the year. Just want to say, obviously, thanks to you two for coming on. Caroline, great guest as
Pleasure.
always. Thanks, Cuts, for coming on.
Welcome. Thank you, Caroline.
And I'd like to...
And let's hope next time we talk, we're still second in the league or even top of the league.
Exactly. Just a few thank yous. Just want to thank Mr. Graham Bandera as well for helping on the podcast every week with his content. Absolutely superb. And also, I think Cuts was going to try and steal me thunder.
Aye, go on, man.
I want to give Bandy a little plug. You probably see it on social media. Political Cartoon of the Year 2025 winner, Mr. Graham Bandera. You've probably seen him on social media down London, celebrating with his champagne, popping corks with the big wigs. Henry Winter, the journalist, was having a pint with him. Great achievement. Congratulations, Graham. We're all really proud of you. Absolutely superb, mate. Cuts?
You're not as funny or good looking as me, Bandy, but you can draw better. Well done, lad.
Absolutely brilliant. Well done.
I think Cuts with crayons, Bandy, would be a dangerous mix, to be fair.
No, there'd be no awards for me, I tell you.
And finally, just to thank the producer of this podcast, Sophie Dixon, who without we would be absolutely no podcast and be absolutely useless. She does all the hard yards behind the scenes, and I'm really appreciative of what she does for this podcast. She does so much work, and she's an absolutely brilliant producer. So Merry Christmas to my daughter, and a Happy New Year to her as well too.
Thanks for all your hard work, Soph. Appreciate it.
Right, so we'll leave it there. And we'll see you in the new year. We're back on the 5th of January. There will be a little bit of content out next Sunday, so keep an eye out for that. Please keep subscribing, and you'll see it. We'll love all the subscribers coming in on the podcast. It helps us generate, so please keep subscribing. But there's something coming out next Sunday for you to watch, and we'll be back on the 5th of January, the day after the Southampton game. Remember, Boro fans, don't say typical Boro. Watch it, listen to it, and we'll be back again soon. Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.
Up the Boro.